Okay. And we can call this meeting to order. It's 4:03. And Heather is not here.
I can do roll call.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Heather Berkowitz, absent. Chris Chang, present. Rita Clinthorne, Steve Hurt. Here. Steve Kern, present. Patrick McLaughlin. Here. Thomas Morris, absent. Roy Townsend, absent. Liz Wiseman.
Here.
John Reiser.
Present.
Okay.
Okay. And the first thing we'll need to do is the adoption of the agenda. I'll move.
I support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So, and this is the time that we take for public comment. So the public can speak for up to 3 minutes on any matter under the purview of the PPPC.
Give it a second here. Let's see, anybody raising their hand yet? Okay, yeah, nobody's raising their hand.
Okay, there's no one in the room. Right, and the approval of the minutes. And I know the minutes were online. Did anyone get to see the minutes?
Guess I was looking
Yeah,
for the normal.
I mean, I did review them, but I wasn't attending the last meeting, but if my review is sufficient enough for me to propose acceptance, then I'd be happy to make that motion.
And I would second that.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, so first of all, the parks report, and would you like to give us anything you know, Chris?
Well, are we gonna start then with the Van Curler with the burn proposal from, wasn't, Bria gonna, zoom in? I don't see her yet.
may not
That
be yet.
update, so we might wanna,
Let's come back to
let's
her.
come back to that one, what was being proposed there for Van Curler. I can give you a little bit of, as far as Van Curler goes. The apron has been paved. I know they've got the cement apron out there. So you can, I think our stewards have been parking out there on the parking lot. I know they're actively working on putting some boulders in, and we're gonna do some additional landscaping out there to screen from the neighbors. So it's still moving along, but it's getting close. And our stewards have been out there. We've hired 2 stewards, and they've been removing invasives. And they've also been doing a really good job of just starting to mow and just get the trails back in order and picking up the garbage. That's not just for Van Curler, that's for all of our parks, since we haven't had stewards in a couple of months, I think. So they've just come on board since our last meeting. So they're starting to mow and pick up trash and, you know, the doggy bags and getting the trails pruned back. So they're doing a good job.
Are they all first years or are there any
Yes,
repeats?
it's their first year.
Uh-huh.
It's John and Jansen.
Okay,
So they seem to get along great. And
Yeah.
they're doing a great job of just doing, I think they're really concentrated on maintaining the parks first and foremost, since it's their first month. And then if that would probably concentrate more on even more of the invasives that need to be pulled out there.
Mhm.
do you, how many, part-timers? I know that. 2, but I mean,
Yeah, 2 stewards.
how many have we budgeted for? Stewards, sorry, not part-timers, I shouldn't say that.
I
Oh,
think, yeah.
two? Okay, because I thought we had 3 or 4.
There was 4 last
Yeah.
year.
We had 2 interns.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
we had 2 stewards.
Research, we had 2 researchers,
Research
yeah.
interns.
Oh,
And we
okay,
didn't do that this year because there's no director in place to
I see.
oversee the project.
sure, gotcha.
So they're gonna try and cover all of them, not focus on.
Yes, they've been going to the 6 or 7 parks and preserves, going out each one
Yeah.
every day and hitting them. Yes.
Do they have sort of a checklist from the folks that worked last year?
Yes,
that
they
left
do.
Here's what we need to do on a regular basis?
Anna left a very nice binder
Fabulous.
of things to do
That
while they
Anna.
were out there. Yep.
Way to go, Anna.
Anna's left her fingerprints all over
Yeah.
it, so very helpful of things to do to look for when you go out there. It was helpful in onboarding them.
Great.
Anna left a binder like this, and she handed me this was hers, and she said, take it. But, I can always leave it here if somebody wants to borrow it.
Okay,
But there is a copy here too that, Aurora has a copy, has the binder. So that when she onboards someone, that'll be part of the director
And-
onboarding.
what is their time frame? They started what, June 1st?
It was around there. It was
Okay.
early June. I know one of them is departing. He goes back to school August 10th.
Mm-hmm.
The other
Okay.
one will stay on until November.
Oh, great. Okay,
So-
wonderful.
I was at Van Curler on Saturday and met Eric. He was out there working on the parking lot. He's
Yeah, Friar, yes,
Right.
it's Friar.
Yeah.
doing a really nice job. It really is shaping up nicely out there.
Yeah.
Regarding the parking area, if you park there and go for a walk, do you run the risk of your vehicle being in the way of work that's still being?
If there's no construction, vehicle out there, I think you're okay if you're, especially on the weekend, if he's not there on the weekend, I think it's okay. I know our stewards have been parking in there and getting their equipment back there if there's nobody there present, so I think it would be okay.
And actually, when I got there, he was working with that heavy equipment, but, he's really, he moved out of the way. Had a nice chat with him.
Sorry, I wanted to jot down the stewards' names. What are they again?
It is John Hawking and Yansen Wang.
Jansen?
Yes, I think it's Yansen.
Okay,
SON.
That's my one?
Just like
Okay.
Hanson, yeah.
Okay,
Tell
Okay.
them we are 100% behind them and think
yeah,
great.
every.
John
Yeah,
and
you're doing
Jansen.
A great job.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I just texted, John to see if they'll stop by because they're
Oh,
probably
great.
finishing up.
Oh, they were finished
Oh, they're
at
done.
4. They're probably at home or something. I saw them when I was walking in here that they were starting to head out, so
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think they're out at the
I
park
had-
at this moment, but.
I had asked them when I saw them last week to stop by the meeting and I told them, but I
Yeah.
was also going to follow up with a text to remind them, that's okay.
Yeah.
Next time, we'll make sure they come by.
Are those guys doing anything with the Sykirk parcel, which is at Stabler in Park, just west of the Trailwoods and south of Kirkway? It's vacant parcel, and I know that last year Anna was having it kind of surveyed, and it's.
It's
What's
that's
the name of it
that's the
again?
Sykert one where she started a trail from the subdivision,
Right.
from the, what is the subdivision called?
There's Kirkway and Trailwoods, and there's Scio Farms.
It's
And that's-
Scio Farms. So
what's-
the
and that's-
trailhead is in Scio Farms.
Yes,
So
and
they're
that's, I know they've been in Scio Farms if they're in the past.
And then south of Scio Farms is Kirkway, across from Menards.
It's the
I
old
don't believe
Sykert
they've been
property.
over, if it's across from Menards.
Well, Scio Farms is across from Menards, Chris.
Okay,
So it goes,
But that's what, it is a Sykert property, but
Yes.
the trail does not extend into the field yet. It is only in the wooded area. But that is the same property that we're
So-
talking about.
This might be something that we have to,
I can
some of
pull
us
it up
have
on
to go out
GIS if you want.
with them.
if you look at that
Yeah.
folder, there's maps in there.
I know.
If you show me the map, I can tell you which parks they've been in. If you just go to maps, there's a tab that says maps, I'll tell you which parks they've been in, because if it's the one I'm thinking of in Scio Farms, where it branches off left and right, I think, they said they did go in there.
so it's part of the West Scio Preserve, which is kind of sprawling as represented on this map. That one is generally the Sykirk, and then there's that, I want to say 10 foot, or there's this linear configuration of parcel that logging road or whatever.
The trail is right in here,
Right,
and these are all Sykert, all those three.
and then right here, Scio, that's Scio Farms, looks like a little menorah right there, the roadways. And then there's Kirkway right there, and this is Trailwoods right here. So there's all this density, all this.
Yeah.
All these people who could use to, there's no parks or inside within there. So this is a prime opportunity, in my opinion, for recreation if to the extent it
Okay.
can be
Or an
developed. So that's just.
extension of that.
Yeah,
Are there
yeah.
existing trails out there then that need?
Not yet,
Okay.
because Anna started that one last
Okay,
year,
yeah.
and she had a relationship with the manager of that subdivision, so she worked with.
Yeah.
She might have in her contacts in the back of that book, she might have a contact.
I'll pull it up.
It's also a good
Yeah.
quality.
I think the plan was to have a contiguous path
Mhm.
from there.
Yeah.
Because this is what they told me they were going out, and they were clearing these areas in there off of Scio Farm trails, but I don't know if that's the same as what you just mentioned.
The
It
corner of
connects,
Park and
it
Stabler, I
connects.
think.
Kind of. I assume that south is at the top of this map.
The green is.
Yes, that'd be south and that's north. Yep. Top is south, yeah.
We're ready to do it. But, yeah, we're talking here as it gets to there and then into this open. area.
Yeah, they haven't been in the open area. I know
Okay.
that.
But we were
No.
talking about a different trailhead off of Park or what, Stable or some
That's
more
right, that's right.
accessible
More
area.
approachable, like
Yeah,
not having to drive into Scio
Right.
Farms to
Mhm.
take a
yeah,
walk.
which you can't do.
Right, that's.
Yeah.
And I
Little
think I think I watched some of that with Hub when he was still on board, as he was bringing Anna on board. I think we walked some of that and he was showing it to me, but you know, it's been a while and it's,
You
You
may
get
have to
around
direct
back
us,
there.
Rita,
Yeah,
then
that'll
we
be
go like
fine.
this debate, we can get them out there.
And I can-
But you may, yeah, Liz, somebody's got to
We
show
walk
us what we're
explore.
looking at
Yeah,
out
right.
there to
okay,
maintain it.
Well, Honey Creek runs through, or at least
It
sort of the
does.
public drain sort of part of, Honey Creek runs through there and presents a barrier to Stabler and Avalon Way. But if you go down to the corner of Park and Stabler Road, that's a really good jumping off point, and it does have that population density next door to it.
okay. Let's see, where did we leave off here?
Oh, we're right on top.
No, she's not.
Okay, she might be a little late, I
Yeah,
think.
so we can maybe, yeah, we'll wait until,
Okay.
So sorry, Van Curler, the last bit of that is to finish the parking lot and he's done.
Yes.
That's it?
yep.
Is this whole parking lot gonna be cemented or is it
No,
just the
just the
apron
apron
and
that goes in there, it'll
gravel?
be the crushed limestone that's down there.
Mhm.
I've ordered a couple of signs, two signs, one from the
Oh, yeah.
Grand River Drive and one off of, was it Joy Road, so
Yep.
those will be, they'll install those once they come. Same with the kiosk. I know we've looked into an additional change order to add more landscaping and rocks in there, and I think we're gonna, it's well within like the 10% allowance that we have to add more landscaping
Okay.
and rocks, so that's gonna happen too in there.
I saw the mature trees too that are gonna be planted there. That are waiting to get planted. I mean. there's-
Okay, they're on site?
Yeah.
Good.
But you know, what? As I was pulling out, it seems to me, as you look left and, you know, you have the traffic kind of coming quickly, it seems like that needs to be cut back a little bit so that you have a better line of sight.
Oh, is this on,
This is on Joy Road.
oh, that definitely need. and
Yes,
we did
you're
talk
right.
to
They had to-
About that, but we have to figure out, are they gonna do it or do we have?
Is it the road
Uh,
commission? Who-
They might, it's a city, a safety issue. Should they have the county do it with that big truck that they can just trim all the trees
Yeah.
like that? Because I don't
You're
want
right.
those kids getting hurt
Right.
trying to
It's a
trim them. So
visibility issue. there.
Traffic
that's
does
something
move
we
right
have
along.
to argue about.
Yeah, it does.
Yep, we'll follow up with that.
Mhm. It's on the list.
So I wonder then how, if, and this has been an issue for other reserves and making parking lots and having entry and exit into them off of certain roads, you have to have 400 feet or this or that. That can't be 200 feet, you know, coming out of there. How did that get approved? I'm just curious. That entry exit out of Van Curler on Joy like that.
Well, we've kind of had thought about doing it down at the bottom of the hill, closer to where that neighborhood comes out across the
Mhm.
street, but the line of sight was not okay because of the hill. And so this, where it is the only place it could be, and I kind of feel like we got some kind of easement or something, or we had to do something to get
Mhm.
that piece. I don't know if we had to buy it or if we had an easement, anyway,
Well,
but
okay.
that's the only place it could be.
Well, it's pretty tricky getting out of there at that speed and that hill. And if we're worried about natural play spaces and liability and we're doing that, we really ought to be aware of, you know, if not, I don't know, putting up those convex mirrors so you can see, I don't know, some way to
Trimming up-
mitigate that tricky in and out of there.
Yeah, I think trimming up the brush, especially on the left-hand side as
Yeah.
you're going out.
Mhm.
I mean, it is hard to see.
Yeah.
And I mean, I almost went over there and did it myself, but I did mention it to the guys and I don't. it's
I'll
something
follow up
to
with the
follow.
stewards if doesn't look like we have either the equipment or it looks like it may be unsafe. I'll follow up maybe with Roy since he's was previously with the
Yeah,
road.
that's what I was hoping he
Who
was.
could
we
we, yeah,
talk
to
about
go up
that.
there and just get that trimmed.
And are those mirrors that I've seen in some places not official, like safety kinds of devices? Cause they sure do help,
No, but
you know.
Yeah,
I think those are really on tight corners though, and that's not the case here. You know, I mean, it's a straight run.
Right, but if you're pulling out and there's a mirror up there that's positioned so you can see down the hill, because you can look in the mirror and see what's coming. I don't know, maybe it's not any one thing that's gonna do the whole thing, but if you have a mirror and it's trimmed back, then you're giving yourself as much chance to be as safe as possible, that's all.
I think that for one thing, the park, I don't know if it's like officially open. There's no, I don't.
yeah,
think
it's not
anything
officially
up
open
yet.
yet, but people are using it. The
Yeah.
steward said
Yeah.
they're seeing people go back there, so
Right.
people know it's,
But I think that
close.
this is just one more step. This is one more detail that's on the plate that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And it's just something that without a director here to really hold on to all the information. And then you've got a volunteer like me that take some time off to clean her own yard. It's so embarrassing. Like really. So yeah, it's just one more thing that we need to pay
Right.
attention to.
I'll look into it.
But I'm happy to help this week too. I don't mind being the person out there with loppers.
I agree. I will.
I would be
that
happy to
too,
do that.
If it's too, if you don't want the kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can take the responsibility. I don't mind it. As long as I'm happy. So, but I think that because you can do it from so close to the plant, you know, you don't have to be out on the roadway or anything like that. But it is on a bit of a slope, so you're gonna be careful. All right, good. Is there anything else about Van Curler? Oh, Bria's gonna do a presentation about a proposal for her sort of taking this on and some of the numbers that are rolling in. And I'm hoping that she actually does show up. I didn't print her proposal.
I got it right there.
She. Okay. While we're waiting, let's, Sloan, I want to bring up, is that okay?
Yeah, I'm looking, it's just to see if Ria's logged in.
Do you want to speak to Sloan or what's going on with, the access to the remediation spot?
So I think I had a link that was set up in there with Sloan. It looks like, what's that landscaping company that's there off Baker Road? Lotus, yeah, that's what it is, Lotus Landscaping. I had a brief discussion with them. They're okay with access through there, but the issue is they need to go through Sloan now to get back and do remediation. I didn't notice there was a contaminated pond back there, you know, so they wanted to go back and access it. I did talk with Barry Lonick. He said, just to try to get a timing perspective, I think they want to do it as soon as possible, but he doesn't have any exact date. So what I think they're looking from the PPP is, do we have support? You know, to allow them to access, and I don't know if it was, let's see, I've got a map, or at least I thought I printed it off, pass this around. Yeah, you can see from Lotus that they're gonna go through the Lotus site and make their way back. And that's the Sloan property to go back and do remediation. When we grant them permission to start taking it now, I don't know how often or what type of equipment, but they want to access Sloan to get back there
And
through
here's-
Lotus.
And here's what I would like to say.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Roger may have a,
Is,
Well, I don't know that it's the PPP's property.
that's correct.
You might want to talk to Choice and township
Okay.
council on that one.
Well, Sloan is,
But I think we make the recommendation, you know.
We don't
PPP
confer authority.
no, true.
but here's my question, is that an easy access for them because they got permission from Lotus? And is it the best way to do it? Because if they're bringing in heavy equipment, they're probably gonna make a real mess. Are we gonna have some kind of agreement that they're going to tidy things up when they're done? Are there gonna be safety issues if they're just barreling through there with trucks? And is there a better access point that would be less damaging to the
They
public?
said that, is there a 2-track back there? They say that this is the best access back
Because
there.
it's more convenient or because it's the best access?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's my
Good
question.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's convenient
Yeah.
because it's there. What are they gonna, how's it gonna look when they're done? I have a pretty good
Yeah,
idea what
restore.
you're talking about. But in the meantime, how long will they expect to be out there? And what is the plan afterward?
and
You
it
know,
almost sounds like through the LPC, like Barry Lonick is involved, is they may contribute that parcel that's back there as part of the Sloan Preserve.
Yeah.
Once
Well,
it's
it's
clean.
arsenic contaminated.
That's what it was arsenic.
And so
Yep.
it's very heavy arsenic in there. So
Mhm.
our question, we have said we are not interested in buying this property because it can't be developed.
Mhm.
And it can't, no one can, it's not safe to use it. to walk.
What if they, what
Well,
if it's
then the
remediated?
remediation, the question
and
is,
then
how will it
returned?
be
They,
remediated? Will it be
Yeah.
remediated by removing the arsenic or capping the arsenic? So my view anyway, as an individual, is that we don't want to tell people, make sure and stay on the path. Keep your kids on the path so they don't get arsenic poisoning.
Yeah.
So I would rather have it removed. But I think that would be a lot more expensive.
So Chris, I'm looking at the GIS. And I see that Lotus Creative is at 1885. And then to the west, to the north and to the south is Scio Township. So we kind of horseshoe around that parcel.
yes,
And they want to go on our land to get to a pond on their property?
Is this,
yes.
is this Lotus right there?
Lotus, that's Lotus,
Okay, so the arsenic is right in here.
right.
It's like Milk Creek or something.
not a
It's-
pond.
it's-
Oh, it's not? Okay.
In the, it's in the
It
ground.
kind of looks, oh, but it kind of.
It's a
looks like-
wetland.
Yeah.
I mean,
It had beaver-
Should I log on? Should I log on so that I can share my screen, or can you share a screen with that way the viewer, people are viewing? Are viewing.
Can see if I can pull it up.
The beavers have kind of made it like a pond in one area.
With the arsenic part, or is that more up on the hill? I thought that was more on the hill. That
You've
was
got the
not,
hill to get there, but then it's lower down. But
Just-
this is what I'm
just-
seeing.
Watched on GIS, Chris.
But it's,
Can you remind me who they are?
it's Baker Road Land Holdings is the company, and they own all the property across the road from there.
Okay.
Running right up into Dexter, and they also own this little piece of arsenic contaminated property.
Okay.
I recall LPC chose to not.
That the
include that as
LPC
Part of the site,
passed on it.
part of Sloan.
Yes,
Preserve.
that I remember,
Because
but,
it's contaminated,
Yes, right.
right?
and because of the arsenic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great parcel, other than the arsenic.
it would be awesome to have it so that you could walk through
So, but
safely.
is there a way other than using Scio, not PPP property, Scio property? Is there a way for them to get there other than using some bit of Scio
In the
property?
middle of the slope.
That, so the answer is they have to somehow.
They have to get across a part of it, and
Okay.
I guess we would want, and I don't.
That's legal.
The
like
creek is up
easements
here.
and
Yeah.
permissions,
So if they-
that's-
Let them do that.
That's legal.
If they tried to go around, they would have to cross that creek.
That would
And
be
that
bad.
would be even
That'd be
more
horrible.
fun.
So in no part of
That,
the parcel that we're talking about touches Baker Road.
All of
It
this.
has to,
Right.
we
So
have
there's
to
one spot
traverse.
here that's very clear.
Oh,
Okay,
We don't.
We got a lot of, we got a couple conversations.
So
Okay.
this is loaded.
All right.
I'm also trying to keep up with notes, so that's, so say.
But I thought the pond
Oh,
was
maybe,
down
no.
beside the little branch somewhere.
Here's a map
Yeah, you
here
can
this
give
way. I don't know if this shows.
No, it's
a little
hard to
more.
tell.
Oh, I think that's helpful, yeah.
Yeah. And so
So
they
where-
want to come in, here's Lotus, and they want to come in here, and this is, I don't know if this is the trail, but there is a way, this is where they did the survive fires.
It's all the way back there.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure.
pretty sure. That's what it sounds like.
There's
That's
open
why they.
pit right down
Oh,
through.
oh, yeah.
Right?
Right, you're right. Do you like bacon?
I have gone back in there
Oh,
just to
I see.
see what that
Yeah.
property looked like.
Okay,
And coming in from over here would be
Yeah.
very difficult.
okay.
See right here, this
there's
is
no other
Baker,
way to do
this
it.
is Baker Road Holdings right here. You see it? As I click on the GIS, and Baker, on the western part, there's Baker Road up, there's, to the north is Scio Township. And then here is Scio Township. This is Baker Road Land Holdings. We'll call this the parcel that we did not express an interest in. So there's a pond, you see where there, now I don't know if they go through there or if there's a better way to get it. This is the creek right here, Mill Creek. So, and
What
then
would
like
the better way
here's
be?
Lotus.
How much of this area is contaminated? Any idea?
I don't know.
I don't know, Barry would know that answer.
They can't access.
I
I
think most
don't
of
know.
it.
I don't
think
know if the
that-
topography or the,
Okay.
the terrain is like there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was my question too, is why can't they go in right there?
But I mean,
I don't
that's,
know where all the arsenic is.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I would suggest that their attorney send our attorney a letter interesting in accessing the land or getting an easement for the purpose of this or that.
And cleanup is
Yeah, 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 yeah.
important, I think.
And the cleanup and then the aftermath.
Yeah, because
No,
it could be
restoring.
very.
It's not our
No,
call.
we that
No,
knows how they.
Oh.
I agree.
And that it should be.
Sorry, everybody, we're
Not
trying to get it out.
Well,
Oh,
what I'm getting is I'm hoping they can see it at home, since you are screen sharing at home, you can see it, but I don't know why we can't see it on our screen. So once again, it's, they may be able to see it at home. I mean,
So that sort of rewinding just for a minute, this came up because they're already using Lotus's access or they're asking
They're-
for, and that's what
And
we're
Lotus
talking
has
about.
given consent. They've said that they're on board. Now.
Okay, which is only half the picture because they still have to cross over
Exactly.
side.
You've gotta go
Okay,
through
we got you.
the storm.
Okay.
Yes, to get there. Correct.
And do we then need to make a resolution or put something in the minutes or on the agenda for the next meeting to?
I don't think we do. I think this is something between their attorney and our attorney. Like, we need, an X, or, like a.
I hear you, John, but are we as a committee the ones to say, look, we think you need to have your attorney talk to our attorney? What action, if any, do
I don't know
we as a
if this is
committee
an
need to
action
take?
item for this body. It
Okay.
sounds like they want to cross our land to do something to improve their land.
Mhm.
It could be to put a subdivision there.
Mhm.
I don't know what they want to
That's
do
right.
there. So, I don't know that, I don't know, have they asked us formally?
Yes, been talking to Barry. They want to remediate the arsenic. The question is how?
how to get
And
it.
I don't know the answer. Maybe you do, Chris, because I don't know the answer.
I think they were looking for some type of support from PPP to keep moving in that direction, whether it's something I go to Joyce with then, or, it may be.
I think.
I get-
Right, that we need, legal.
I don't feel
Advice.
comfortable taking action on something that's not before me in writing.
Okay.
And I think
Fair enough.
John's right. It needs to be in
Uh-huh.
writing so that we can enforce.
Yeah, right.
We'll get something in writing.
What I was trying to suggest by using the word action, I shouldn't have, but what move, what suggestion, what proposal, I don't know, call it whatever you want.
Recommendation.
What does the PPP need to say about this so that action can be taken and lawyers talk to lawyers, whatever that is?
It may be an LPC thing because
Okay.
they've been wanting LPC to take this land, to recommend to the board that
Mhm.
the township acquire this land for a long time, and the township has said, no.
And there's gonna be some controversy to it. Does the township want them to get the arsenic out of there if possible, or do we wanna, have them put some clay on top and call it done?
No.
So that they're in, that's, and I'm being a little flippant, but.
Right.
But you get the point,
So again,
and
just
I
for
don't
the.
know what they want.
Well, they have to pay for it, it's their problem.
Right, and all those details are all fine and dandy. I'm trying to say, while we're sitting here right now, is there anything we need to say about this? Just anything, to move it forward to somebody else?
No, I
I
don't
think
think
we
so.
can continue to put it on the agenda and get updates from Chris.
Okay,
Well, we have
Got
the
it.
LPC tomorrow, so
Yeah,
hopefully we
We
can,
may get an update on that.
yes, we'll officially, if it's Barry or it's
It's
coming
come
from
up since we last
us,
met.
we want it in writing.
Yeah.
We want a formal request
And
for us to review.
approved by the township attorney.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
And if I recall, that may be naturally occurring arsenic. I mean, it might be
Well, it's
something
very
that,
heavy arsenic, apparently,
And
from
it's
years ago.
Probably been
Like
disturbed. by-
industrial use or agricultural
Yes,
use?
that's what my
Was-
understanding, but this is a long time ago.
Was it dumped there?
I think from
We
what
don't
I
know.
hear that no one really knows.
Okay.
But it tested very, very high.
That's enough.
John, you're able to tell from GIS whether that's a landlocked parcel?
It is.
It's got slowed
Yeah.
all the way
They
around.
absolutely.
And a creek.
have.
well,
Well,
except there's a
no,
little patch
no.
where it hits Baker Road, it looks
Yeah,
like.
there is a little.
The answer is no, it's not, because part of it does have frontage along Baker Road.
So
Thought that
why,
might be a strip.
There's a
There it
sliver,
is.
yeah, of
yeah,
course.
why
Right
can't they use that
Yeah,
piece?
right.
Okay.
Well, we'll find out.
some of the
I
gas
didn't
goes
realize.
across.
Oh, the gas line?
Could be the-
Oh, the
underground
gas
gas
line,
line?
okay.
That could be it.
Or maybe the woods are so thick that they can't get to it. I mean,
Cause the two track is easier.
Why can't they? Where's the link?
Right here.
It'd be easier.
Yeah.
I see.
And it might be better to come in right here.
Not through all the trees.
Right?
They just. Well, the arsenic's in the trees. You're gonna have to get back there somehow, somewhere, but that's not before us.
And is the arsenic in the trees?
Well, they're
No,
gonna
no,
want
no,
it,
it's.
No, literally, they do take up some. of
they,
those.
they're gonna wanna do it as cheaply, as cost effectively as possible. We, on the other hand, may have an interest in saying, please spend some more money in order to do this right.
That's provided they are interested in selling them to us.
Okay,
Okay.
all right,
We'll do some follow-up.
okay. Good, I'm glad, I really wanted to talk about it though. Oh, in Township Hall Park. So we met with the DDA. Were you at that meeting? Yes. The DDA brought in, Johnson Hill Architects,
Mhm.
landscape architects, and we met with them about, Roy was there as well. Chris, you were.
I was there for the first
Yeah.
hour, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
but we're, so Johnson Hill is going to come up with 3 different concept designs about what might be a good fit for that park, for Township Hall Park. Taking into account that, yes, we would like to have a nature play space, and we have the area kind of pegged for where we think it would be a good idea. It's sort of earmarked. And so now we just, kind of play the wait and see game. I believe it should be like the concepts may be reviewed in July.
I'm not sure what their timeline was. I don't remember that exactly.
I might have it here.
Does that firm have access to our pros plan? Cause there was a lot of people.
Yeah.
In other words,
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
I
they
asked
do.
them about
They
that.
looked
Yeah.
at it. They were
Because-
quoting it.
one of the questions I'm getting to is have residents sufficiently weighed in as to what they want and don't want in a park in
Yes.
this area?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
We've had a
I
lot
think that
of-
there's more than, I think the answer is yes, but I think there's more to it than that. And I think that after the pros plan does this broad look at everything that Scio Township has to offer, now that we're focusing on this particular space and what it has to offer and what the possibilities are, that is unique, really, because you can't do almost any of the kinds of things we want to do here anywhere else. That I think it does call for
Because of
perhaps
sewer-
another public
Because of
input
sewer,
meeting.
Water, electricity and parking?
Well, maybe because, well, not just that, but because therefore that allows a much larger segment of the population at one time to have a play space, walk your dog, maybe even have a soccer field, those kinds of things that you just can't do anywhere else. And certainly at the level of participation as well. So I do think that the pros plan is critical, obviously, but I think it's important. What we're thinking of doing here is worthy of another public input meeting
And
or
there will
two
be. There
for
will
this
be.
particular place, yeah.
Yeah, there will
So
be.
that's a two-part answer, yes and more,
Mhm.
yeah.
There would be, the future step, the first one is community engagement,
Mhm.
because we're just trying to take what we got from the press plan. Since we paid for all that,
Right.
let's, compile that with this and really look at it, but then they'll present their concepts. I think the concepts are presented, I don't know if they're presented to the public or just to us, but there will be public engagement. This is not.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
There will. Mhm.
So that's gonna be scheduled maybe for July for the board?
And probably at the end of June is when they think they'll have the development, the preliminary concept development. Early July, probably a
And they're
presentation
gonna
to the
present to the board
DDA
then, right?
and then.
They'll
Sorry,
present it to the board? Or are we not?
They offered opportunities that they could be more involved if we wanted them to, which, I'm sure means DDA pays them more to do it. And, yeah, so there are opportunities. Nothing was guaranteed or agreed on.
could
And
be
I'm sorry, what's the name of the company? Johnson
Hill,
Health, thanks.
but the DDA, I believe, is like us, they make recommendations to the board.
Well,
they-
yes,
they-
but they have money they can spend
Mhm,
and
yeah.
that's what they're doing. So, yeah. I mean, they can't dig a hole, but they can pay to have somebody tell you where to dig the hole. Yeah.
So I feel like it's gonna have to be approved by the board though, before they can really move forward?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But you, John,
The what?
that we do this, the DDA will need approval from the board before they just go.
Yeah,
on with
oh,
it?
yeah, this is gonna be the board's gonna wanna have input on Township Hall Park and they're gonna want public input too, so yeah, absolutely.
Sure, okay. Good. Okay,
And I will report back at the next board meeting that this is an issue and the PPP is interested in having something back there and using your services of a firm to help render some concepts that public can weigh in on.
mhm. Is there anything else with parks that you can think of?
Well, they'll also be coordinating with Michigan Recreational Construction,
There you
the
go.
MRC.
Yeah.
So Johnson Hill Land Ethics, I think that's the studio that's doing this. They'll be coordinating with MRC with several of their proposals, this for their natural playing periods back there.
Did you and Roy make the introduction to Johnson Hill? Is that with MRC? Because I know, okay,
We,
all right.
yes,
Yeah,
got
so
saw
they-
a string of emails.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
and we did get a sort of a proposal from MRC. I think it's 900,000. Oh, that's a whole different.
Yeah.
program. That's not even in this town.
Oh, wow.
Let's just like, yeah, you didn't hear that number. No, but there was I think I brought it with me. But yeah,
Got it.
this is it. The, bottom line. And this is the scope of their services to develop a minimum of 10 nature play station concepts for consideration. Present the preliminary concepts and preliminary cost estimate to the owner representative for feedback. And then based on this, just the design services would cost $4,800.
This is MRC.
MRC.
Okay.
And so they would, we're not forgetting about our Eagle Scout.
I was just gonna ask.
This,
That
this is a little awkward. I'm not sure how this is gonna roll together, but I don't know if we're gonna let the Eagle Scout, have sort of, let him take over some of the leadership, or I don't know how that's gonna work, because this is what MRC does.
We should keep him,
Yeah.
we should make sure he understands that there may be a delay here. Why?
Mhm.
Because I feel as if, he's a kid, he's put a lot of time into
Yes,
this. He
yeah.
needs to know that, government sometimes acts slowly and what's going on.
Mhm.
Well, to be fair, we did meet with him.
Yeah.
And he was gonna do some measurements and get back with us,
Mhm.
and I'm sure school is ending like this week.
Yeah.
So I think that right now, we're just kind of in this noisy section, and it's gonna calm down in a minute, and we'll catch up with him again.
Yeah, okay, as
So-
long as he's not expecting to finish in August, because it doesn't seem as if that's gonna.
No, but he's gonna learn that this is how things work when you work with a government.
You get the merit badge of bureaucracy.
Yeah,
Or not, there is now.
Is he a junior?
he's 15.
I think he's a sophomore.
Okay, so
He's
we,
got time,
oh,
He's got,
but he had hope to finish this year.
and we all did.
Mhm.
That's the song we all sing. So, okay, that's it for parks, you think?
Oh, I guess just real quick on the bathrooms needing faucets and whatever. Are we stuck on that, or is that in motion?
it's in motion.
Okay.
Phoenix contractors who actually did finish the bathrooms and plumbed it, but we don't have fixtures in
Right.
there. They're putting their bid together. They're actually going to get us more information as far as, because the old building plans they said expired, so they can't pull permits until they put a new set of plans together, so. It's moving along, but it still doesn't mean it's gotta go forward to get approved by the, once we get the actual number, that the board is gonna have to approve this, so.
What timeline you have?
I'm gonna call him this week, because I think last week when I called, he said, give me a call this week. And I'm hoping he has the numbers, his estimate.
Like a July board?
Yeah, and he said if you've looked at those bathrooms, and I can show you those bathrooms anytime you wanna look at. He said they'll be done quickly. If it gets approved, it will
Because it's
not take
mostly done.
long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause it's plumbed.
Yeah.
It's got the piping in it. We really just need to put the fixtures, like what kind of fixtures do you want? in there?
It
Sink
should
toilet.
be very.
Yes.
aggressive. Won't be expensive.
Well, I don't wanna, what's expensive? It
Yeah.
depends on what type of industrial, I
Yeah,
think we're gonna get an industrial
Yeah.
type of fixtures in there.
Commercial toilet is not.
And he's, and he
Yeah.
wants to, put some type of, I said, we're gonna leave the floors alone. He goes, the salt's gonna kill your cement floors in there. You gotta put some type of protection on them. So there might be a little more than just the fixtures in there after he looked at it, but it should be, it'll be done quickly. Now, I don't know what the
Other
expense
stalls?
is, so,
Not yet.
no,
So ADA,
right, it's,
how about other light fixtures?
yes, well, it's wired for it. I believe it's gonna need light fixtures also, so.
Oh,
So it's gonna need light fixtures, plumbing fixtures, probably some type of floor treatment,
stall,
epoxy, something like that.
urinals, if that's
I
required.
don't think it's not plumbed for urinals, it's just toilets in each of them. There's 2 bathrooms, just toilets, so there won't be any type of stall or anything in there. Just lock it up.
So one person goes in at
Yes.
a time.
Yep, there'll be 2 bathrooms, 1 at a time. Yep.
And then outside, I could imagine that the approach might need something if it's gonna be ADA. I mean, there's a sidewalk out there, but just coming across the parking lot, I feel like there's some curb and grassy area that might be, I don't know, that's something to argue about. Okay. All right, can we go to planning? Oh, I guess it's. Who's planning?
John is.
Done.
Oh,
Oh,
what are you talking about?
what plan?
You're planning, what do you?
do?
Okay, yeah,
You had a long night.
yeah, what are we
Yeah,
planning?
long
Oh,
night.
planning as in planning commission?
I guess so.
Okay. If you're talking about planning commission, in the packet, thank you, Christy Aiken, has been added, my board of trustee report and my planning commission report. I printed out extra copies if anyone needs one. Residents can see them in the packet online. On page 4 and 5 is the planning commission report. Since you all have it and have had it, I can hit highlights, or you can just call me if you have any questions about it. 242 wants to put a daycare in, right at ground zero of the Gelman plume. What can go wrong with kids playing in the dirt there? So that's something that got postponed or without a date for them to do a little looking into that. There's a house, it's a structure on Marshall Road that's currently zoned office space, and it's like everything else is like kind of rural back there. Now you've got this office building, so to conform with adjacent parcels, the planning commission heard from the owner and is recommending to the BOT that it be rezoned. She wants to live in that structure. I have a home office there, and then get some deliveries related to her Dexter-based kitchen and bath consulting business. Has no interest in splitting the parcel. She wants to put natives there, and the board recommended that the BOT approve that rezoning. Interesting concept going in by Menards. They want to put in residential in that parcel that is, if you walk out of the Menards garden, there's a little, to the, I guess it's to the east and to the south, there is a 11 acres back there, and they want to put townhome units back there. And that's in the water and sewer district. That's one of the problems Scio has, is that developers want to go in, but there's not water and sewer. What do you do? Private wells or, big systems. So that was recommended on approval. The other one is Alpha House. They're on Jackson Road, and they bought a place in Ann Arbor, and they're gonna put their office staff in Ann Arbor and try to beef up what they have by way of residential to try to deal with the unhoused. So they're increasing their bed sizes, not the size of the bed, by the way, but the number of beds that they have. 24, not going from like twins to kings, but they're going from 24 to 36 and increasing the bathrooms as well, but still having a little bit of office out there. That was regarded, that's a PUD, plan unit development. So it's a change to the PUD. Those can be major, which have to go to the BOT, or it can be minor, which the planning commission itself can approve. And the planning commission regarded that as minor. The building footprint is staying the same, the other things are staying the same, the functionality is staying the same. They're just kind of reconfiguring some of the inside walls to allow more residential while still some office, so that passed. The controversial one, and I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but you know, there's at the intersection and still within the water and sewer district of Liberty and Wagner, it's east of the Nye Funeral Home, and it's, the topography is kind of wacky. There's a big, maybe a holler, you could say, that you go in the slopes, and it's kind of, it's a funky parcel of land. They want to put in residential and in the form of a planned unit development with various public benefits. And one of the issues has been, is it safe for a township to allow residential to go just across the street from an asphalt company? That's not where you generally put houses. But
Safe in what way?
Quality.
You know, air quality, you know, particulate matters, you know, organic, you know, volatile compounds.
Additional
noxious
traffic
fumes,
was an issue.
you know, and so there's some tension between the developer who is maintaining that's those are regulated by the EPA, by the feds, the Clean Water Act, Clean Air Act rather, and by Eagle. And there's already residential just west of there on Scio Ridge, and you know, there's the Walnut Ridge and Walnut View and apartment comp. So that is the case, that there is residential downwind. So that was that.
I think there were gentlemen representing this development here a year ago talking to us. Was it though? I think those were the,
Yeah, they had plans too.
yeah, and they were very, they thought, hey, tomorrow, you know, let's do this. And we never really got much further than, well, what can you give us?
We, the BOT, or we tie?
No, TAP.
Yeah.
Was it PPP or TAP? Might
TAP.
have been TAP, yeah. Yeah.
So one of the benefits that they propose is to have a pathway north to the 242, so you can tie into that internal border to border trail and get through Saginaw with the woods, the forest,
Yeah.
Saginaw Forest. And
Yeah.
then through Saginaw Forest, you can get through Scio View, you can get through Scio View, it's like the neck bone connected to the whatever bone. You can go to Polo Fields and you can get yourself up to Jackson Road.
We were even talking about going the other way.
And they
connecting
also
over
wanna go
Liberty
Yeah.
east,
Bridge.
they also wanna go eastward
Mhm.
into along Fenn Brick.
Yeah,
and
across the
U-Haul
bridge
place
to
to
meet
try to
up.
get, so you can connect to Ann Arbor and the bike path into Ann Arbor.
Yeah,
So that's one of the
yeah.
plan, the benefits that they're going on. So they got, you know, that got recommended on a 6-1 vote with the conditions that they address issues related to the air quality and Cadillac asphalt.
Sorry, John, that got recommended. You mean the idea
No,
that they
no,
would go
no,
forward?
so it was preliminary site.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
That's what you said. Okay, yeah.
And
Mhm.
that got, it'll be, ultimately, it'll be up to the board.
Sure.
So planning commission reviews, and sometimes they have authority to do something, but usually they don't, and then it goes to the full board.
Okay.
All right, that's it. I yield back.
Okay. All right, let's see, should we bring Bria in?
Sure, Rita is in the
We're gonna,
meeting
and then we'll
now.
come back.
Bria's in the house.
Reports in writing, you can see that later.
Thank you, John.
And we can catch the movie later.
Yeah, it's very dramatic.
Okay.
Hi, Bria.
Hey.
Hello. Hi. Hi. You would like to present your proposal and et cetera, et cetera? Yep.
She starts to share a screen.
Okay.
Ray, do you have something in writing you can share so we can all see it, as well as, residents?
Oh, yes. Let's see.
Please and thank you.
Mm-hmm. I've not shared my screen before, but I will do my best. Let's see. Does anybody know where the option is to share the screen? I'm not seeing it. Oh, I see it. Never mind.
Promoter to panelist.
I found it.
Oh, got it.
All right. How's that?
Yeah, looks good.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, I have a few recommendations. These are kind of just my notes that I wrote ahead of time. So the first thing, for prescribed burns at Van Curler, I'm going to recommend that we hire Dave Bornman. I was not able to get a cost estimate from PlantWise. I think they were really busy. I tried calling back, and then he tried calling me back, and it was kind of just a whole thing. But I do have this estimate from Dave Bornman, and I've worked with him. I know he's very good. So I'm going to recommend that we go with him. He estimated $3,000 for a prescribed burn. We might want to budget a little higher than that, just in case there's any unexpected costs and so on. So that's my recommendation for the prescribed burn. And then as far as seed goes, I'm going to recommend that we buy seed from Michigan Wildflower Farm. Have them come out for an on-site consultation, which is $300, and they would recommend a seed mix for the site from them. So my thought was that it would kind of flow smoothly to have them come to a consultation, just to get a second opinion, see what they think, and then get seed from them. And I know the Metro Parks have also gotten seed from them, and obviously they're local. So I think that would be a good choice. And as far as budgeting goes for that, we could potentially budget for the most expensive mix, which that was $12,480. We could budget $13,000 if we want to. I'm guessing it will probably be less than that. And then seed spreading would be probably me, and then spread by hand with others, volunteers, staff, and that would be post burn. So the cost for that would essentially just be pretty low. And then the third thing, I know a lot of you mentioned wanting to compensate me for the work that I'm doing, which I feel honored that you value my expertise in my work. So as far as that goes, I would maybe start by asking for $30 an hour, and that's based on employees doing this type of work at the Metro Parks and a few other places I've looked at. And I guess that would basically be, I don't know exactly how it works, but paying me as a contractor or a consultant. And I guess I would say $30 an hour is a lot less than hiring some other contractor, which is likely closer to around $100 an hour, since they're running their entire business and everything. And so with that, I guess I'll say my hours so far working on this project, I would guess it to be around 20 hours since I've started working on it. And then hours for the season this year, just as far as like doing the work, actually either out in the field or at home doing like the planning, the research, things like that. Just I guess I would say we budget for 100 hours, and that's assuming that I'm going to be compensated. And of course I started this as a volunteer thing because I enjoy it, but assuming I were compensated, we could say 100 hours for this year. And that's probably more time than I need. And, you know, I kind of guessed that based on 5 hours per week, and I probably wouldn't be working, you know, a solid 5 hours every single week. It might be a lot of hours one week and then not many hours the next week. But this is just kind of a rough estimate, more for potential budgeting purposes. And so with that, I have a little chart at the end just to get more of a general idea. And that's if we go with all of these recommendations. Prescribed burn, 4,000, 5,000. If we want a little extra room for extra costs, consultation and seed from Michigan Wildflower Farm, 13,000. Maybe if we want extra room again, 14,000. And then if I were to be compensated, then we could say $3,000 for the season. And the total for that would be 20,000 to 22,000. So these are kind of just rough numbers if we go with these recommendations and for budgeting purposes for this year. And that's kind of what I have. So any thoughts, questions?
Thank you for putting this together. It's very
Yeah.
difficult.
Thank you. Very well done.
Well, Bria, how much property would actually be included in the burn? I mean, I know that I've walked that area, that's a large field. Is it the entire thing or just a portion of it?
The actual project site is the 6.5 acres of field. So all of this, including the prescribed burn, the seed, the consultation, all of that is just the 6.5 acre field. It doesn't go anywhere beyond that.
The burn cost is that, as we've discussed before, and as you've suggested, doing in quarters, obviously not the whole thing all at once, is the $4,000 to $5,000 burn cost for separate small burns, or is it per small burn?
So the estimated $3,000 that Dave Bornman gave me was for just one solid 6.5 acre burn. I
Okay.
thought that we'd just burn the entire thing to begin with, and then
Okay.
moving from there, divide it, into halves or whatever. But for the first year, I think just to kind of get things moving, it would be great to burn the entire thing. And in the fall, we're not quite so worried about wildlife because, everything's moving out, everything's done reproducing and things like that. So yes, that $3,000 is for the entire 6.5 acres all in one go.
And were we able to get sort of on the waiting list for a fall burn, or are we now too late and it's got to be spring?
So I did ask Dave about that. And he said a lot of times, it'll be kind of like the returning, I guess, clients that are kind of first priority, and then everyone might fall in beneath that. And so from the sounds of it, right now, there's still plenty of time to get on the fall burn list. So if we decide we want to go with this, I'll contact him basically as soon as possible so we can, get on the list, get that scheduled, and get that planned.
And if we have to do the spring burn, if we somehow fail to get on the list, we would consider doing it, doing part of it, just because of the small critters that need to get out of the way, to give them a safe place to go.
Yeah, we could definitely consider that. And I'd say it could depend on the timing too. For example, like a really early burn that could happen in March. We might not be as concerned as one that happens in May.
Except that the salamanders sometimes will start moving if it's, we've got really warm days.
Right.
Like fall would be better if we could. I don't know. I have the same concern as you do. In the spring, it's
I've
everything.
always worried
Yeah.
about the salamanders when they do them in the spring like that. And really, I know that you can do part at a time. But yeah, I think if we could get the fall burn, somehow I feel a little bit comfortable with it too.
But I think we kind of walked over talked through this the last time we were talking with Bria, and that is, okay, so we have to take action and we have to get rolling, and we did something. We put together a proposal or a motion about part of this?
So she could go ahead and.
Yeah, did we not already?
So. Where do we have to get this approved?
I think we did.
Yeah,
I mean, it's within our, but I feel like we could go ahead and get it on the schedule, and if there's a problem, we can take it off. Can we do that, or do we have to have?
well, it's gotta
All our
be
ducks in a row first.
proposed to the board and approved.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, when we meet again in a couple of weeks,
The board?
yeah, so it needs to be to Joyce and Will, so they can put it on the agenda like by Wednesday, So we could get it in a big board meeting in 2 weeks, but we need to, a resolution and photos and a proposal, and I can work with Chris and Joyce and I guess Chris will work with Bria, and then he and I can work. Chris, have you had access to the peak system and adding things to?
No, but I
okay.
could,
It's
I'm
kind of
sure,
like, Legistar or Granicus.
yeah, I've been dealing with Granicus, so
Yeah, yeah, but so you've done that for.
yeah, built with Legistar, things like that.
Yeah, similar.
I can upload that.
So I think we're sitting here right now with the progress that Bria is showing us in her proposal,
Yep.
because we've already, kind of greased the wheels, so to speak, and gotten this far. So then the question is now to actually do something, what do we need to do today?
We need to get it on, we
Okay.
need to get it onto a board of trustee agenda with a resolution saying how much it's gonna cost and from what funds it's gonna come. And then there'll need to be a presentation. It could either go in consent or because it's so novel, it could go into under new business on the next board meeting.
Does one category have a better chance of getting on the agenda than the other?
They both can get on the agenda, but
Okay.
the sooner, like, I can follow up with, send an email to Joyce, Chris, and Will saying, FYI, this agenda item's coming. And then we can get the details with any photos and any this or that. So how much is it gonna be? And we also have policies about do we need an RFP? Do we have bids? Do we know how much is it gonna be? Why are we going? The board might ask questions like that.
So Bria's proposal right there. Bria, have you emailed this to Chris or Rita or anybody?
I emailed this to
Yes.
Roy, this morning.
Oh, Roy, okay.
Yeah, just kind of wondering his thoughts on it.
Uh-huh.
But I have not emailed it to anybody else, but I can.
Okay,
Well,
well,
I can see a board wanting to say, oh, we're gonna pay somebody to burn our land. What's to possibly go wrong with that? We might wanna coordinate maybe with Chief Andy Hood of the Scio Township Fire Department, just to kind of cause we have, this is
sure.
kind of a novel thing.
All right. Well, novel to Scio Township's, political branch, but burns are done, as you know. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
not a run of the mill agenda item.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. All right.
So
So we're
does-
saying a presentation would be a better.
I think so. Well, I mean, Bria can be there in person or she could be there virtually to kind of talk about it. But the thing is to make sure, is the proposal where it needs to be with all aspects of it and who we're recommending as the vendor, things like that. And then if it is, let's get it as an agenda item.
That's a great thought because obviously the burn guy's not on our vendor list, but maybe the seed people are, or maybe there's already people, Bria, that you're working with that Scio Township already has a relationship with. Would that speed things
Are
along?
they able to, no, well, I don't know if it's the relationship. It's like, do we have a timeline for this? We've got competitive quotes. We've got reason for going with these people. We've got, the burn's gonna happen, then there's gonna be whatever preparing the land, and there's gonna be seeding, and then there's this and there's that. And so,
Well, Bria's done a lot of that work already.
I know she has.
Oh, okay.
But do
But
we
that's
have
gonna-
competitive bids? Because she couldn't reach.
Well,
other
to the
than-
extent that you can get as many bids as possible, there's just so much time and you have to put the proposal together. Sounds like she's really done a lot of due diligence.
Known
Yeah.
everywhere
Yeah.
for doing this.
And he
Yeah.
lives inside it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps. Okay.
Okay. So, but Chris and I can kind of to do the follow-up on the agenda item.
Okay.
So when, Bria, we should ask you, instead of just assuming, would you have the time and would you be interested in making a proposal to the board?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
What date? And you're saying like at the board meeting?
Yeah, either by Zoom, I presume, I don't know, I haven't been to a
She
board
could
meeting
be
in
in
a while.
person or she could be via Zoom.
Okay,
And if she has a presentation or a PowerPoint with that would help with the proposal, with and we can talk offline about that, but I would suggest like a GIS of the property, and then a zoom in and maybe some photos of what it looks like. And then some, what you're envisioning by way of, I don't know, Echinacea purpurea or Rudbeckia fulgida or whatever Solidago or whatever plants you're gonna put in there, Monarda, whatever you put in there. So,
Can I ask you though, given your position and you know how the board operates, that's why you're giving me this information. But how much of what Bria has already given us fills that bucket for the board? Are all of the things that you're asking for, those line items, just to get from 90% to 99%? Because that's a lot of extra work for her to make that presentation in a short amount of time.
it's $20,000 for something we've never done before. The board is gonna wanna know it.
All right.
When in doubt, give them more information.
Okay, fine, but if we are also battling a time constraint, I'm just asking you for your opinion on, you know, are we good enough are we already at 90%? We'll get an approval?
We'll find out.
Okay,
And it
Yeah.
might be helpful if, some of us are there too.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, so the thing, I mean, we're gonna need, Chris, you know how you've seen the agenda items and, there's a cover sheet. And then there's attachments and, it'd be a motion, move to allocate, up to this amount of money out of this fund for this, and then there's the attachments that kind of fill in the details.
okay.
Bria, you did a presentation for us. Can
Yeah.
you sort of pick and choose? That was a fantastic presentation. Can you pick and choose out of that presentation to kind of put together something short that would give an overview of this project without just,
Yeah, I can put together, are you asking for like, kind of just like, almost like a shortened? Like,
just something so you won't have to just do over the whole thing,
Right, yeah. Yeah, I could definitely take some out of that.
But I'm sorry, I just want to make sure, because I hear what you're asking for, and that makes sense to me, but it seems to run counter to what John is saying slightly. You're asking for a lot more detail, right, for the
Well,
presentation
I'm
of the
just
board.
saying, board items can have like 10 attachments on PDFs, some of which are 30 pages apiece. So
Right.
don't worry about giving the board too much information. You can do a PowerPoint,
Okay.
so.
but
I'm not worried about that.
Simplify.
Yeah.
I agree, but I've seen
Okay.
board members saying, well, I wish we would have had this. Why don't we have this?
Understood. And so all I'm trying to, again, try to encapsulate here is the idea of what we're trying to do and what Bria is presenting to us and the cost that we're looking at versus some of the larger projects that the board has to be concerned with. And so therefore, what kind of hoops are we jumping through at $20,000? And with the amount of information that Bria has given us, it's not a $200,000 project, because I want to use her time as wisely as possible and not have her do a whole lot of extra stuff. I heard what you said, you can't give them too much information, but it might be too much for what Bria, GIS maps and all those kinds of things.
But I mean, Chris can help with a GIS map is.
Okay, well, I don't know that, and so
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah.
just saying,
Yeah.
okay,
Chris and I each pulled one up in, less than 10 seconds, and all you need to do is snip a clip, put that into something, so that's easy to do, but I
Okay.
guess,
fine,
where is it? What do we wanna do?
okay.
How much is it gonna be cost? What's the steps? How are we gonna pay for it?
Mhm.
And why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Why is it
Yeah.
important? 'Cause
And the
some people-
pollinators.
Some
support
people will
for-
not have any idea,
Right.
why would we spend money on something like this? I think that's
Yeah,
a big.
I think the board will be supportive, and like I say, I will work with Chris and I'll let Joyce and Will know that this is
Great.
coming.
Okay,
Now, in terms of her being compensated, is that something that we deal with, or is
I
that?
think that would be a board matter.
We recommend it.
Yeah.
but we would
Yeah,
recommend.
yeah. I
This-
mean,
that
like,
would
she's
be-
gonna be like, as like the project manager, so to speak.
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
But this whole thing is a board recommendation that we can do today, correct?
Well, yes, we could actually pass, I move that the PPP support I'm gonna say Van Curler proposal, yeah.
Maria's proposal.
Yeah, right, I mean, we could do that, and then it would be proposed, on the top right, Chris, it'll say proposed or approved by, or, PPP.
Yeah, I would, make that motion.
And I would second that, if I can.
Yep.
Sure.
Well, when you say that motion, sometimes motions are more detailed than that.
Well, let's put the three elements of Maria's proposal.
Yeah,
there. One,
right,
two,
Chris, you have that?
we
Yeah.
recommend to the Board of,
So can I get a header for what we're doing with Van Curler? I know we're burning and seeding, but is there sort of, is it a, what, a
Prairie restoration.
yeah.
prairie rest? Okay. Okay,
And
So-
Maria, could you put up your three?
6.5 acre prairie.
6.5 acres, is that what it was?
Rhea, is it 6.5?
6.5, yeah.
Okay. To restore the 6.5 acre prairie through prescribed burn.
Well, actually, she can send this to you or
Oh,
whoever's writing this,
okay.
because this is very helpful, because we can go
Yes,
by having Dave
Yeah.
Ornament, do the private prescribed
Okay.
burn, by purchasing seed from Michigan Wildflower Farm, by hiring Bria Sheffer as project manager at cost of.
okay. So then again, I would say, Bria, if you could email that to what, Rhea and
Either
Chris?
myself or
Yeah.
both.
And if you don't mind, throw me on there too, Steve at bulldogfab.com. I don't remember if you have my address or not.
All right. Yeah, I'll definitely send it.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Also, I guess we should talk about the money we would pay Bria to do this. And Bria, I appreciate your looking through what it would cost and how it compares to other contractors and so on. And I don't have a clue how to actually figure out what $30 an hour means, but to me, seems on the low side, frankly. But I don't know where to go from there.
I agree,
When
but
it comes
this
to
could
that.
be part of our proposal to the board.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm willing to accept that.
I think it's a reasonable.
Fair number.
oh, it's a very reasonable amount. And yeah,
We take her word for it.
Yeah.
Some people charge a heck.
I know, and that's why I'm saying, I'm wondering if,
We
but.
should go up.
Well, as a
Yeah.
board trustee, I'm gonna vote against bidding it up.
Are you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
As a guardian of the treasury.
All
Yeah, when you say, I'm worried that's not enough to pay out of our.
so when we look at,
So
when we look at
careful.
proposals and we always take the lowest bid, but.
I didn't say that. We have policies that, for whether bids are needed, RFPs are needed based on the amount.
Mhm.
So I wanna look at, those are on our website. I wanna look at that.
Okay.
Right now, kind of working on a motion unless Patrick's got one that he wants to put forward.
No, I'm certainly willing to consider yours.
So Bria, what are you doing this summer otherwise?
In terms of work,
Yeah,
so I'll be at the Metro Parks through the summer. My schedule there is usually Monday through Wednesday. Those are 10-hour days. So like my Thursdays, Fridays, weekends are typically open.
and
So
that's where you would put the 5 hours a week roughly? Yeah, okay.
yeah, so that's where probably I would spend my time working on this project, would be on those off days from my main job.
How many metro parks, do you cover all the metro parks? Do you do this type of work with the metro parks as well?
Yeah, so I'm on the natural areas crew at the Metro Parks, and we cover all 13 parks. I think it's about 25,000 acres total. We're based out of Kensington, and then we travel to all the parks doing this type of work. Right now, we're doing a lot of invasive species control, a lot of garlic mustard, Dame's rocket. We were actually just at a prairie today in Dexter Huron Metro Park, which I think is just south of Van Curler.
Oh. And you finished your program at U of M? Or are you still?
I'm not at U of M. I finished my
Oh.
program at Oakland Community College.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
gotcha. There were other stewards, I thought that, well, I'm sorry, I should remember
When would
that.
the board meeting be?
Oh,
Well, we're gonna
Just to make
find
sure
that
that I
out.
can attend.
It's on a Tuesday night, and it's either gonna be late June or early July, I think, and I'm thinking something along the lines of this, although I'm open to it. Amending it or changing it, and it would be, I move that the PPP recommend to the Board of Trustee that up to $20,000 of PP funds be allocated to carry out the restoration of 6.5 acres of prairie meadow in the Van Curley Preserve as proposed by Bria Sheffer, with the work to commence in 2024. I mean, that's.
Sounds good.
I think that's fine.
I mean, that the board's gonna do what the board's gonna do, but this just kind of supports the
Yeah,
concept.
Sure.
And I'll rewrite this neater and hand it to you, sir. That would be, if that's your
Patrick,
motion,
read it.
Patrick? I don't, that's your motion. Okay, yeah, then I would support your motion or make the motion with someone else supporting it. Doesn't matter.
Well, I think that you
Okay,
making the motion, and
okay.
I support your motion.
All right.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thanks, Bria.
Thank you, Bria.
Thank you, Bria.
So you can, feel free to ask me or, again, to confirm the date of the next meeting. It looks like in 2 weeks, it would be June 25th, would be a Tuesday. And it starts at 7, but, we can always confirm that. And,
Could I ask a couple of questions before Bria leaves?
Oh, I'm fine with Rob. He's always got good stuff to say.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Thanks, John, I think. Bria, are you going to be in the area for the next few years, or are you planning on graduating and moving on?
I will be in the area. Yep, I will be staying in the area.
Fantastic. So here's my question, questions. If this program is successful, can you manage and design a program for other parks and preserves in Scio Township?
Yes, I would say yes. And
And
that sounds really fun to me, actually. I'd love to do that.
and if this program is successful, do you think you will have results that you can present to the board in year 1, or would it take to year 2 to find out if it's successful?
It's a little bit up in the air. I think when these prairie restorations start, right when they start, we don't really know how quickly it's going to respond. Some of them take a lot longer. Some of them, you can see the difference right away. So, I would hope within a few years, at least, we start to see something, but potentially, even within a year or 2 would be awesome if we see something at least change, some improvements, some progress that can be presented. And, we'll be monitoring that also, so we'll know. And if there is, then yes, that would be great to present it.
Fantastic. And will you be providing a report, perhaps a yearly report to the board about how the project is going?
I can, yeah.
I think that would be very valuable.
Mhm.
And perhaps even go so far as to design a manual of operations so that if you're not running the program for us, we can continue the program with other people if you have moved on by then. But I think there's a lot of value in this, and I hope you get a chance to really dig in and grow this. Very well done. Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are great ideas. I'll definitely do that.
Thank you, Rob, for all the puns.
and hopefully we will be hiring a director who can help carry the.
Chris, I wrote it on. Is this yours? I wrote this.
It is.
So I wrote that on there, so give that to him.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Where are we? Yes. Should we come back? Bria, I think we are finished. for today. Do you think we are? Do you have any comments, questions, confessions?
No comments or questions right now. I'll
Okay.
definitely email if I do. I want to thank everyone. This is awesome. So thanks for having me here. It's good to see everyone again.
Okay,
Thank you, Maria.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Maria. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay.
Email, okay.
Well, I don't have her phone number. Did you need that? We can get that, but we have-
I've got her email address, so.
Okay.
Oh, I do have it in my phone.
Okay, very good.
I
All
do
right.
that.
Should we
I do.
go on to the LPC report?
I can do a quick one.
Okay.
Our consultant is doing spring monitoring of conserved properties, which he does every fall and spring. We have 2 buy, protect, sell properties that I wanted to call to your attention. The first one is the honeybee you pick farm at the corner of Zeeb and Scio Church, and we've been working on the owner to get that cleaned up, and it's now open, it's cleaned up and open for strawberry picking, so if you all want to go by and pick
I
strawberries,
went
that's,
yesterday.
yeah, good,
And
good.
wood climbing.
Well, I know, but it is much cleaned up. He did a good job of that. The other one is the Vestergaard Farm, which is the old Ren's farm on Wagner Road. And that is just a textbook example of what you can do with a property that is otherwise very valuable to a developer. And he has made it into a farm. He has put up fencing. He's got a community garden there. And has plans to bring the community in for educational purposes. He's got his cows grazing in the field, so notice that when you drive by.
Sorry, where was that? Where's the
That's
location?
on Wagner, kind of, across, it's between Liberty and Scio Church.
Oh, okay,
So you'll
Cow-
see the cows.
okay,
Look for the cows.
okay.
And then the other thing I would note is that we just have several pending applications for property conservation that we're continuing to work with property owners on.
Very good.
And sometimes, those take a while sometimes.
They
Why
do.
is it?
Well, they do because families are sometimes, you'll have a 4 of the kids want to go ahead and conserve mom's farm and the 5th one isn't sure. So you kind of have
Cash
to,
it out, yeah.
you have that and you have, at various dynamics. I think everyone is a little different. Some people want to get more money out of a property and you can do that through a developer more easily, so. Everyone's different. We just try to build relationships, I would say. And so that people want to work with us.
Roads.
I'll do the roads report.
Okay.
The roundabout at Zeeb and Miller's done. That's it. That's the report. Yay.
I know Roy's not here, but he also serves on the RAC, Roads Advisory Commission. I was also there last week, so pretty productive. They've got the flow chart, how to get a SAD, Special Assessment District for public roads. They've got a flow chart that's been updated. I'm hoping that it's really close to being finalized, I think, at our next meeting. Also started a spreadsheet of roads in the township that they've been paved previously, what year were they paved? I don't know if we're gonna be able to get into the condition, but at least gives us an idea of the last time they may have been maintained. I'm sure I'm missing something, but that kind of encapsulates what we talked about last week.
Done. Where did trustee report you said we have it? and,
We had a meeting last night, water and sewer. We haven't kept up with our water and sewer rates. On page 3 of my report in red are the people who are fortunate or unfortunate enough, but fortunate enough to have municipal water and municipal sewer. And there are 2 components of your bill. If you live in one of those, there's what's called the RTS, readiness to serve, which is like access to the network. Each one is about $26 a quarter. That gets you to the sewer system and the water system. Then you gotta pay $8 or $10 for every 1,000 gallons that you use, either coming in or going out. So that's water and sewer. So based on raises, then the Ann Arbor has levied and increases and based on the needs, capital, you know, we have lift stations, we've got air release valves, we've got infrastructure that periodically needs to be updated. We've got to televise these things so you know when there's leaks. We've got to replace our meters. There's like a bunch of things you got to do to run a sewer system, even if you don't treat the water yourself. So we need to be ready for those contingencies to occur and for that maintenance to occur. And there was a presentation by Plant and Moran, and Plant and Moran recommended that the best way to do it would be to have a 40% increase on just the water, not the readiness to serve. So it's gonna end up being like a 22 or 23% raise for those folks in year one, with like 4% raises over the next 5 years. You try to do these things so that you have a 5-year plan, so that your expenses are gonna coincide with the revenue that you bring in. There's a case, you can't charge more than what it costs people to be involved. You know, we can't use sewer funds as a way to, as a money grab from residents. It's like a trust fund, as it will. So whatever it is goes into the fund. So, you know, if we collect too much, then we've got a little bit in the bank. If we don't collect enough, then we've got to say, hey, we need a little more in the piggy bank. So that happened last night. I think we hired a couple firefighters subject to background works. We hired someone for the utilities field tech. Speaking of items that the board didn't take action on, we're trying to go electronic filing and, you know, paperless and that type of thing. And a proposal by Drive IQ, which is a Scio based IT company, they wanted to implement a digital records management system for, there was an RFP, a request for a proposal, but there was only one bid and they were the bidder, and it's 248 in year one, followed by $114,000 a year for the next 4 years. So that was a lot of sticker shock. You know what I mean? A $20,000 plans is the one thing, but 248 for software in year one, and then 114 to get things into the cloud better. So the board did not take action on that. Just, I think they need to want to understand it more. They want to know that that it's a good use of taxpayer funds. Priority waste. Priority, you know, as you may have read in the paper, there's like 70 municipalities that are having their residential contracting, which previously done by GFL, which previously was Rizzo, which previously was something else. It's another iteration in the ever-changing trash hauling landscape. And there's been a lot of disappointment with GFL. They missed you, or they missed your whole neighborhood, or they were either a day late or they were several days late. You were either on hold for 1 minute, no one, or you were on hold for so long that you finally left a message for them to call you back because you were tired of waiting for 10, 15 minutes doing something else. So priority is going to be taking over residential trash hauling. They think that they're going to close on June 30 for that. And the board consented to the transfer, which was in our contract. You know, Scio, for residential, they generally have a single waste hauler. And the rationale a few years ago was to try to keep trucks, you know, from 4 different companies driving their compost trucks, their trash trucks, their recycling trucks on, you know, roads meant for cars rather than big trash things, and try to keep the roads wrecked. People could probably relate to that concept, but when they miss you and they got to go back and it's the same GFL trucks, yeah, I mean, you know, kind of deludes that concept. So the contract is to remain in full force and effect. So look for, I think they're bright yellow. Everybody has a different color, right? Waste management was Rizzo was red, waste management was dark green, GFL is fluorescent green, someone was blue. So I don't know, saw one in Ann Arbor that was a different color today. So look for yellow trucks. and then they're gonna buy the fleet and then paint them, and, you know, they were giving a presentation yesterday promising great things, and, you know, you're never gonna be as happy as your trash collection as you were with us. I mean, that's my words, not theirs, but, you know, cause they have cameras and they have this they have this dispatch center where it's like I don't know, like a sci-fi movie where you have all these screens and they're, you know, monitoring and, you know, truck 40 team on here, so, you know, maybe I'm being a little, you know, I don't know. Cynical is, I guess, the right word. So, that's coming down the pike, but GFL's getting out of the business, and, you know, we only, you know, there's various reasons that we can use to not renew it, and, you know, we have to, we can't be unreasonable and are not allowing them to reassign the contract, which happens in that industry. So that was a big thing for those of you who have residential trash collection.
So are we gonna get yellow bins?
I think, no, they want,
I hope they just keep the,
We issued a can of paint and a brush.
yeah, well, you know, I worry about all the plastic that.
I
keeps
think,
getting-
I think the bins are gonna stay the same.
And that's,
That's
I still have a red Rizzo one, if anybody wants.
I have waste management one that I use for, because they never came and got it. It was too icy when I broke off with waste management somehow, and you know, I kept calling them and saying, I still have one of your bins, and they wouldn't, they never came and got it, so now it's my compost bin. It's a big compost bin. All right,
It's hard to throw away trash.
well, and I believe we need to reuse everything anyway, so I'm happy to keep them. All right, we already talked about the DDA and the architect, so I think we're good there. New business. Possible action, nature play space proposal, I think we talked about that. And slow remediation, we talked about that as well.
Banging it out, really.
Yeah, okay. Any other,
Public comment.
Number two.
right? I mean, you don't have anything else, okay? Go public comment,
We do have Rob Pattinson.
all right. Oh, I have one more thing, can I just give this little announcement, and I don't know what's gonna happen because we don't have a director to do this. But we were sent this reminder that there is a grant round that's opening up, and you have to just let them know that you even just your intent to submit by July 15th. So I'm pretty sure we've had, and I wish Roy was here to speak to this, the Connecting Communities grant. I'm pretty sure that we had a grant with them, and I feel like we just finished it up. But anyway, this is something that would be really helpful to have, probably a director to help us. I've never written the grant, so I don't know if anybody is interested in.
I haven't either, but my sister might be able to help me understand what, you know, needs to be done, and I'd be happy to try to run that by her, because she is in the grant writing business, so.
I have this on my email. Do you want to just take this and roll it
Sure.
around and let us know what you think?
Yeah, thanks.
I think it would take me so long to figure out how to go about starting and.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the deadline would be
Will do.
we're gone.
Okay.
And the other thing I just want to say is there's this group out of Canton. So, you know, I had this B proposal and it got postponed, and we're gonna try to take a kind of a bigger look at other things that, you know, in addition to bees and potential parcels, but what can we do by, you know, not using insecticides on our parcel, by planting natives? We did some of us were over there under the solar panels, putting in plugs. And there's this group called Creating Habitats for Pollinators. They help municipalities do what Bria is doing. Instead of they do it like around Township Hall, and they get volunteers, and it's a 501c3. And so I've reached out to him about that, and maybe get a presentation either in this body or the full board. So
That'd be great.
yeah, I don't know, I'm just, what's the right forum? Is it here? What do you think here? And then like, I think, yeah, and And then, maybe take some to the board, so.
So it'd be the exploratory phase to learn about what these guys have to say, and that
Well,
makes sense to
no,
be us
what
going
What
out.
can they do for us?
Yeah, right, that's what I mean, it's sort of
Yeah.
figuring that part out makes
Yes,
sense
yeah,
here, and
yeah,
then we would.
We have these preserves, or we have this land, we have, the DDA has median strips. So should it be turf grass, between the eastbound and westbound Jackson Road, or should it be Russian sage? Or,
Yeah.
but you know, I just threw a plan out there, but you know what I mean? Like, something like that instead. Should it be grass? So those kind of things.
Yeah, and this is kind of tied in with sustainability too.
Of course, yeah,
And, how can we reduce mowing?
Yes, all good.
Oh, good, yeah. Okay,
You have
okay,
rock heads.
okay.
sorry, Rob, cut you off.
First of all, thank you, Chris and John, for the sharing screen of the mitigation, the remediation plan. That explained it much better than the picture in the agenda packet. Rita, I completely agree with you that arsenic removal remediation is going to be heavy equipment, and there's going to be lots of trips back and forth, and that is really going to tear up that area. So I hope there is a cleanup clause or a cleanup component to that contract so that they can do what they need to do, but then they need to clean up their mess. And Steve, I sincerely apologize for the inadvertent puns.
Oh, no, I love it.
I plead innocence. I am not clever enough to do that on the spur of the moment. That was just whatever.
It was
So,
great, I loved it. Yeah,
well done, gang. Thanks for a good meeting.
Thank you.
thank you.
Don't see any other hands up at the moment. Other hands.
Okay.
Okay. So, looks like we can adjourn at,
Move to adjourn.
move to adjourn. Support. 5:40.
Aye.
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 Okay.